It would be nice if I had a camera guy, but I don't. So, and apparently I just bumped the button, so this is part 2. So, okay. Here you can see the pocket. Right here. So I'm going to take a handful of the vermiculite and just kind of sprinkle it on there, and then cover the soil. Maybe put a little bit more down there. And make sure it's tucked into all the holes so the soil's covered. Take the handy dandy water bottle and dampen it down, because vermiculite is very light and will float away or fly away or get blown around. Here's the next pocket. So we're just going to do the same exact thing. Put some vermiculite. You can see it makes a big mess all over the porch. Kind of pat it in there a little bit. Spread it out, hoping that it covers most of the soil. Sometimes it won't cover all of it, and I'm not too much of a perfectionist. I just try to do my best. And then come right behind it because it's windy, and we're going to dampen it down just because I do not want it to blow away while I'm getting the other ones done. So one more pocket here, right here. We're going to tuck it in there and push it down. There we go. And then, I don't know if you can see the wind blowing or not, but it is. So, just spray that real quick before the wind blows it away. Alrighty, there we go. And voila, the kale is planted in the pockets. There's one, there's two, and as we spin her around, there's 3. So now we have the kale started. Now, I did mention in the other video, part 1, this is part 2, that I have to start some broccoli as well, and that is way overdue as well. But the broccoli we are not putting in Tower 1, we're going to put the broccoli in Tower 2. Because we grew broccoli in Tower 1 the first year around. And I'm just going to put this right here for now until, where's my, here it is. Kale goes in with the lettuce. That's how I remember it. And when you got one of these things, you can organize it the way you want to. I got wonky organization, so it's not all the perfect. And also, that most of the labels are here, and I still got a bunch of seeds there. That's because these are labeled, because these are the ones I'm going to plant right away. And then once I get all of these in the soil, then I'll worry about organizing the rest of the seeds and get them situated. So, we got that going for us. Okay, now, I did look, oh, it's right here on the top. Fantastic. Okay, next is the broccoli. So, oh, wait. First thing we got to do is come down here to the handy dandy little tablet and turn it on. There you are. Now it's hard to see this tablet, even in the dark. Okay. Now mark this as complete. I have seeded the kale. Yes, seeded the kale. Ta-da! Okay, some of the other things that are overdue that should have already been planted between the 10th and today are the lettuce, which I've got Henderson black seed lettuce. I've got Grand Rapids lettuce, and I don't know where my other lettuce is. Oh, the gourmet mix lettuce. Okay, and that's probably what I just rattled off. And then we also have onions. I need to get the bunching white Lisbon onions in, the Italian scallion onions in, the flat leaf parsley, the Bloomsdale spinach, gourmet blend beets. I need the short and sweet carrots, the Denver half long carrots, and the cosmic purple carrots all need to be started today. Those are overdue. The Cornetta hybrid spinach, the Whelm broccoli, the bouquet dill, and I have both the Lilliput mixed colored zinnias and the early bird zinnias that also need to be done. Those are all overdue. And then today's thing, we have to direct sow the Little Marvin dwarf peas, and I have to prep the beds for the Little Jack pumpkins. So some of that, the peas might not get done today, and the Little Jack pumpkins actually are going to go in a pot again like last time. But I have, I don't have to worry about them right this minute. I will, usually I don't prep the beds and then do the seeds right away. Well, backwards. I usually don't prep the beds and then wait for it to tell me to directly sow the seeds. So I'm going to mark off that the Little Jack pumpkin beds are prepped, and then when it's actually time to put the seeds in the soil is when I'll prep the bucket, and in that way the soil is nice and moist and I don't have to worry about it being naked and exposed to the sun and the nutrients being depleted. So when it's time for me to start the Little Jack pumpkin seeds, then I will go ahead and prepare the buckets, put the pumpkin seeds in, water them nicely, and cover them up with some vermiculite, unless I can come up with some other kind of compost to cover them up with. But right now we're using vermiculite, and vermiculite seems to do best here in my area, and because I don't have any cover crops or anything, so we're using vermiculite. It works well and it holds the moisture in. When it gets hotter out here in the summer season, then it's going to get really hot, and the vermiculite does help hold some of the moisture in so that the soil doesn't get as hot so fast. So that's where we're at. Okay, so we are on part 2. I'm trying to keep these short, even though I know they're not going to be short. And this is part 2 because I bumped the button. So let's go ahead and think about this. Now, I'm going to put more leafy greens in Tower 1 than I did last year. And here's where everything gets a little difficult and why I make things so much more work than they actually are. Okay, so let me explain to you this. Ooh, we can get up off of the floor. Okay, we have the Garden Tower 1, and now we have 2, which is great. But, and then we have Mr. Stacky and the $2 trees. Now, last year I had flowers, some leafy greens, 1 or 2 dill, and I think I had a spinach in one of these. I'll have to check the labels. But a lot of these had flowers. So this year I'm going to put more of our, oh, and I had short and sweets in here, which I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll do short and sweets in a couple of these. Those are carrots, that is. And then I'm going to do more leafy greens and possibly onions in here. I might do scallions in here because these pockets are big enough for scallions. Over here, I want to probably do some bunching onions like before. I had parsley down on the bottom, so we'll probably put onions down there instead of parsley now. And we'll shift some things. I had the flowers on the top. And don't forget that we still have one of those tiers out in the middle of the yard, out there. And that had flowers in it. They do good for flowers, but, and I've decided I'm not going to put zinnias in the grow towers this year, the big garden tower projects. We'll be putting those in buckets or these little grow towers, not the big ones, because we don't need a 7.5 foot tall zinnia again this year. Yes, it was beautiful. Yes, it was fascinating, but we need to grow more crops this year. And so we're going to try to spread out the flowers and keep everything neutral so that there are flowers. And, you know, we're trying to companion plant everything so that the pests stay away. And we prevent the pests from attacking all of our crops. I did a pretty good job on those. I'm pretty proud of that. So, yes, I make things complicated. And then, of course, I haven't tended to these littler grow towers. You can see all of the stems from the flowers that were in there, still there. Parsley is still down here, kind of, sort of kicking. So I just haven't done anything with that. And then you can see I didn't get around to trimming any of these. I might actually put some basil in one of these. And I might start some marigolds and try and get them started in here. And then once I transplant all of the tomatoes and peppers out to the buckets in the front yard, then with the trellis that I still have to make, then I will go ahead and put the zinnias out there. But I'm thinking some of the research that I've done has shown that you can grow onions and peas with your tomatoes, or basil with your tomatoes. And then another study, I printed off some of these papers. I'll have to try and do a video and show you these papers. Another study showed that you can grow peas with your potatoes and bunching onions with your potatoes, and that will help keep down on some of the parasites as well. So we'll see how that works. So anyways, now let's go ahead and get the broccoli started in Tower 2, the Garden Tower Project 2 tower. And I'm going to have to call these something else. Big Orange 1 and Big Orange 2 or something. I don't know. But anyways, the Big Tower 2, the new one that I won, I'm going to go ahead and put the broccoli in. So let me open up the broccoli and show you how I get that done. Okay, so I'm going to put the broccoli on the bottom row of this Garden Tower 2. And I'm going to put it every other pocket. There are 9 pockets on each layer. I think at least there's 9 on this one. And I have 4 labels that I've put and labeled for broccoli. And on here it says 10 to 15 days to germinate. So a 1/2 inch deep, spacing 3 inches a plant, and harvest around about 85 days. So let me poke the holes and get the seeds in here. And they're also another small one. So we're going to do that, and there's no way I can prop you up for this part. So I'll show you the holes, and then I'll show you after I put the seeds in, and then we'll water them in, put some vermiculite on them, and water that as well. So just a minute. Alrighty, let me see if I can flip you around without dropping these seeds. And here's the pocket. So all I did was just push my finger like that. Just a little bit. And then because these are an older seed, I'm going to put 2 seeds in each pocket and hope that at least one grows. Let's see how that works. And okay, there you can see 2 seeds in the hole. So I'll go ahead and do that to the other 3 holes, and then I'll go ahead and come back and water them in and cover them with a little bit of soil and then the vermiculite. Okay, so I got the seeds in the soil. I'll show you that. You can see them right down in there. There's 2 of them. And I'm just gonna cover them like this. This soil is quite damp still. And then we're just gonna give it a good water in here. Ta ta ta. I don't know if you can see that. See how that soil is nice and moist now. So I'll water all of the pockets, and then I will come back and I will cover the pockets with vermiculite. Here again, you can see there are 2 little seeds right in that hole right there. So we're just gonna cover it up. You can see some of the soil is a little damp, but we're just gonna go ahead and give it a good water in here. Get it nice and wet and moist. And that way, yeah, now you can see, nice and wet compared to this here. So let's spin it around. There's the other ones. Can you see in that hole? There they are. Okay, so we're just gonna cover the hole. You can see some of the soil is lightly lighter than the other, which means it's drier than the other. And so that's why we're just gonna give it a good watering here. Saturate all of the soil so that it's nice and moist. You can now see it's all wet. There's no light spots. All right. And should have 1 more pocket here. Yep, there's the little seeds in there. There they are. And we're just gonna cover them up. Give it a good watering all the way around. Make sure the whole pocket's nice and wet. And that way I know for sure that they're watered. And now I'll get the vermiculite and top it off with the vermiculite and moisten it. And there is the kale and the broccoli planted into the tower. So this is part 2, and it's almost 20 minutes long. So I will come back with part 3, and we'll see what other crops need to be done next. We've got plenty of them. So let me cover this with vermiculite. I'll come back and show you that, and then we'll start a part 3. Alrighty, and here is the pocket covered with vermiculite so that it does not get depleted of the nutrients while the seed is germinating. And I will end up doing that to all of the pockets on both of these by the end of the day, even if there are no seeds planted in them, just so that the soil is protected. So I hope that this was fun and interesting for you. Like I said, we have a whole bunch more to do, so I'm going to cut this one short since it's almost 20 minutes, and I will come back in on the next video for seed starting part 3 and show you what other seeds that we're going to be starting. Remember, we have a couple of different leafy greens to get started, which are lettuces, carrots, onions. I think we still have the parsley and a couple other things. So that's what we got going on and what's next. So thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Remember, you are someone, you do matter. I love you. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next video with more crops and seed starting. Until then, ciao now.